So let's talk about generative AI. It is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful tools we've ever created. It's completely reshaping industries, it's unlocking creativity we never thought possible, but, and this is a big but, with all that incredible power comes some really profound, really urgent questions about how we as a society should actually be using it.
And that's the big question, isn't it? Just because we can make AI do something, does that mean we should? So today, let's dive in. We're going to unpack the critical ethical debates swirling around this technology, exploring both the massive challenges it presents and, importantly, some of the solutions people are working on.
Okay, so first things first, let's just make sure we're all on the same page. When we say generative AI, we're not talking about an AI that just analyzes or sorts information. No, this stuff is a creator. It digs through enormous piles of data, learns the patterns, and then uses that knowledge to make something totally new, something that didn't exist before.
And that creative power, well, it's the classic double-edged sword, isn't it? On one side, you have these incredible opportunities for innovation and progress, but on the other, you've got some really significant risks that we have to navigate, and we have to do it carefully.
And when you start to peel back the layers, the challenges are, wow, they're incredibly complex. We're talking about fundamental questions like who actually owns something an AI creates? How can we trust our own eyes in an age of deepfakes? And a huge one, how do we make sure these systems are fair and don't just end up amplifying our own worst human biases?
All right, so to make this a little more real, let's take a look at a place where this is all playing out right now, a place that literally defines our future, the classroom. The whole debate over AI in education is a perfect miniature version of this bigger ethical conversation.
And this is where things get really interesting. In education, you've got this central debate. Are we using AI for augmentation or for automation? Augmentation means it's a tool that amplifies and helps our own skills. Automation means it just replaces them. You see the difference? One is a tool to help you think better. The other is just a machine to give you the answer.
And you know, a lot of experts, a lot of teachers, they are really pushing hard for augmentation. They see AI as something like a construction crane for your brain. The crane doesn't design the building for you, right? It just gives you the power to lift heavy things so you can build something bigger and more amazing than you ever could on your own. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It really illustrates this human-centric view perfectly. The point isn't to get rid of the teacher. It's to give them tools that actually strengthen the most important connection in all of learning, that relationship between an educator and a student.
But here's the thing. For AI to be genuinely helpful in a classroom, it can't just be colorblind or one-size-fits-all. Real fairness requires what's being called fairness through difference awareness. Basically, it means the AI has to be smart enough to recognize and adapt to the fact that every single student is different. Different backgrounds, different learning styles. It has to respond to that.
Okay, so let's switch gears a bit. We've talked about how we learn. Now let's talk about what we believe. Because with the rise of generative AI, we are in a full-blown battle for visual truth, and it's challenging our very ability to trust what we see with our own two eyes.
I mean, who didn't see that picture of the Pope in that super stylish white puffer jacket? And yeah, it was funny, pretty harmless, but man, was it a wake-up call. It was absolute proof of just how easily a totally fake image could fool millions and go viral, pushing us into a world where seeing is no longer believing. So the big question is, how do we even begin to fight back against this stuff? Well, experts in the field, people like veteran photojournalist Keith De Cesare, are developing systematic, almost forensic ways to verify what's real and what's not. And this protocol is a potential game changer. Why? Because it's not about your gut feeling anymore. It's about evidence. First, you trace its history, the provenance, and metadata. Then, you check the physics. Do the shadows and light even make sense? Next, you look at the biology. Are the hands weird? Are there too many teeth? The stuff AI messes up. And finally, you go microscopic, looking at the digital noise and texture. It's about creating a real standard for truth when our eyes just can't be trusted. So, we've looked at the classroom, we've looked at fake images, and all of this really leads us to the most important point of this whole conversation. You know, for a while there, some folks thought, hey, maybe we can just build a moral machine to figure all this out. It was this wild experiment where they tried to crowdsource ethics, basically asking a self-driving car who it should hit in a crash. But this whole idea runs into a massive philosophical wall. It's trying to solve centuries of moral debate with an algorithm, and that's just not how ethics works. As critics like Brendan Dixon were quick to point out, this completely misses the point. You can't just give a machine a bunch of rules and expect it to have moral understanding. Why? Because machines don't have minds. They can follow instructions, sure, but they can't apply principles. They don't get the why.
And that's the real takeaway here. The bottom line is, you can't outsource morality to a machine. The responsibility doesn't lie with the algorithm. It lies with us. It lies with the people who create the AI, the people who use it, the teachers who bring it into the classroom, and the policymakers who regulate it. It's on us.
So what's the path forward? It's all about having a clear, human-centric game plan. We have to choose tools that empower us, not replace us. We have to demand transparency and hold people accountable when things go wrong. We have to build fairness into these systems from the very beginning. And this is the big one. You always keep a human in the loop. Always.
At the end of the day, you have to think of AI as a mirror. It learns from the world of data we feed it, and it operates based on the rules and goals we give it. How we decide to build this technology and how we choose to use it is going to say far, far more about our own values and our own ethics than it will ever say about how smart a machine is. The real question isn't what the AI will become, it's what it will show us about ourselves.